guys, welcome back to the channel. So my name's Jodie. If you're new here, hello. So am I. I'm a pretty new channel. But what I want to chat about today is the 5 minimalist approaches you can take when it comes to your finances. We've all been in that situation where we get so stressed, we're bogged down because we've got credit cards with different banks, or we've got debt with different banks, we've got loans left, right, and center. Okay, let's just keep it very simple when we're managing our money. Me personally, I've had the same bank account for the last 10 years. So this is the very first point, is to not make it complicated for yourself, okay? So what I have personally is a current account, an emergency fund, and a savings pot, okay? And I have it all with the same bank. So every time I look at my banking app, I see exactly what I have, and I can see exactly what's coming in and out, okay? And it just makes your life so much simpler. So if you can, move to 1 or 2 banks and have an app on your phone, of course, that you can just go onto and check, your spending habits and check how your emergency pot is building up, okay? Of course, and a really important thing is to look at your interest rate on your savings account if you have one. If you're new to saving, don't worry. You can, of course, set one up pretty straightforward in like 10 minutes. So you might as well do it today if you don't have one. But with your savings, of course, put it into a separate account. It can be with the same bank, or if you get a better interest rate elsewhere, of course, use that. But it's really important to do that separately. Do not have your savings pot in your personal account. Otherwise, of course, you're going to spend that money because it's just sitting there. But trying to keep it all together and keep it in a place where it's really accessible to see will make your life a lot easier. So the second point then is to keep a folder at home with your paperwork. Yes, this sounds so lame and so mundane, but we've all been in those weird situations where you move residence, or maybe you want to rent a car or something, and they ask for proof of address and you don't have anything at all. So make it simple for yourself. Just print off your latest bank statement, pop it in a folder, and you have it there straight away if you need proof of address. Or same with like a utility bill or something like that. It's really important if you move property that you have all these things to hand, whether it's, your reference number, your account number. If you lose your email address, for example, which has everything on it, which has happened to me, you are in a bit of a hole there because you don't have any proof of anything. So sometimes paper is a good thing here. And if you just get a cute little folder for your desk, you can have everything sorted and keep it so simple for yourself. The third way to have a minimalist approach to your finances is to budget. Now, I'm going to be doing budget templates soon. I'm going to be releasing a website in the new year, which is very exciting, and I'm really chuffed about it. I can't wait till it comes out, right? But I tend to budget every month, and you guys should too. And if you don't know where to start, I will do a budgeting video on that pretty soon to help you guys. But keep it so simple. Like literally just write down what your needs are, what your wants are, and how much you're going to save that month. So if you know the 50-30-20 rule, I'll pop a video up here I've recently done on it. This keeps it so, straightforward. So 50% of your monthly income should go towards your needs, 30% should go towards your wants, and then that 20% to go towards your savings or investments. And if you just start with this, you will, of course, be a lot more aware of your spending, where your money is going, and how you can boost up that savings. So not to overcomplicate things, but just to keep it very straightforward and minimalist for yourself. There are apps out there in the UK called Snoop, which is absolutely free, which can monitor where your expenses are going every month. And I'll also be doing budget templates soon, and I will walk you through that process, but it's very straightforward. Even in my situation of someone who was really switched on with personal finance, I have found things that I've been paying for on automatic payment that I didn't even realize were going out. So I was recently paying for an iPhone storage every month that I had no idea was going out. And I'm someone who's very switched on with finances. So this is why it's very important to track your money and to see where it's going so that you can save more in the future and also be mindful of where your money's going. The fourth minimalist approach to your finances that you can look after is your credit cards. Are you someone who's currently in credit card debt? If you are, I'm so sorry to hear that. There's a lot of different ways and reasons why people are in credit card debt. It may be, they're just living above their means and being very frivolous, but it could also mean maybe you're on a low salary and you're dependent on that credit to live, because paycheck to paycheck is just so intense. But if you're someone who is known to get into debt very regularly, do not have a credit card, or maybe have one credit card if you can pay it off on time. But if you can't, please, for the love of God, don't have multiple credit cards and don't, snowball yourself into further debt. If you can't afford something, don't pay for it on your credit card, because if you can't afford to pay it back, you of course are going to build up debt there for yourself. I personally just have one credit card. I think I'll actually be changing it soon because there are ones out there where you can get cash back and rewards, but just be careful with these because sometimes with the cashback credit cards, you actually have to pay like £200 of a month as a fee, but then pay all this extra money to get the cash back. So only get those kind of cards if you feel like you're going to buy things that you would have already bought, not get tricked into spending frivolously on trips or clothes or nights out or things that actually you don't need. Credit cards can be a very sticky situation. If you're someone who is, of course, very sensible with their credit card and their money, I would still just recommend one. There are a lot of places that say, do like credit card churning and get cash back and get rewards this way. But I think that just makes your life very complicated because if you have 5 credit cards and you forget to pay, the minimum payment on one, you're just affecting your credit score there on something that you've made very complicated for yourself. So really have a think about what you have in your wallet and do you need it? So the 5th minimalist approach to your finances is to invest. If you're new to investing, I have done a step-by-step on how to invest here. If you want to set it up today, you can. Literally takes less than half an hour to set up. And with investing, the benefit here is you're making your money work for you rather than you having to work for more money. And this is done by something called compound interest. So the way that compound interest works is, let's say you invest in the S&P 500, which is an index fund. So this is something that tracks the 500 top companies in North America, okay? So if they do well, your investment will do well. And usually, let's say the S&P 500 tends to give a return of about 8% over a long period of time. So of course, there will be, peaks and troughs in that time. Let's say it's over a 10-year period or something like that. But on average, it may increase by about 8% in terms of interest. Now, this is not an absolute given. Of course, with any investing, your capital is at risk. But if, for example, you put in £100 a month into your investment account, set up on an automatic payment, and you don't even have to think about it, and let's say it does grow by 8% every year, how compound interest works is you will get interest on top of your interest on top of your interest. So as that bucket of money grows of what you're putting into it, so does that interest grow as well. So this is, very beneficial for like a long-term strategy. If you want to invest over a 10 or 20-year period, you are more likely than not, hopefully, gonna increase that money over time. But do look into investing and do look into index funds if you're not sure what they are. I do a video on investing that I said, I personally am with Vanguard, but they have changed, their fees recently for people who are in small pots of money. So do look into it before you do anything. But I personally think investing is the way forward. It, allows your money to grow, with compound interest rather than you having to pick up an extra side hustle to get that same amount of money. Now, of course, it will take time to build up that money in your investment, years and years and years to have the same benefit as having, a little side hustle that brings in £200 a month. The key here is to have automatic payments. So set it up regularly and don't even think about it. And in about 10 or 20 years time, you will really thank yourself because if you're putting in a decent amount every month and every time you get a promotion, you put in that excess money into your investments, you're going to have a pot of probably 6 figures, depending on how much you pop into it every month. So I personally have upped my investments recently, and there's a really cool calculator on Google, which I'll pop down below. It's called the compound interest calculator. And with that, you can figure out, okay, if I put in £400 every month for the next 10 years into something that will grow 8% over time, how much money will I get? And usually the figure really surprises you because you're like, wow, if I was to do that with my normal savings account that maybe only gives me 2-3% interest rate, you will get nowhere near that figure that is potentially going to happen in your investments because, yes, your risk is potentially greater, but if you're investing in something like an S&P 500, you're basically just investing into the American economy. So if you feel like the American economy is going to do well over the next 10, 20 years, that is a good place to be to grow your money in the background automatically. Is there anything you guys have done lately that have really helped you be a little bit more mindful about your spending or make your life less stressful when it comes to your banking? There are lots of things that I tend to do, every month, such as look at my bank account regularly, of course, do my budgets, look at a bit of a forecast of how much I can save if I continue this, over the next few years. Have little pots of money here and there, which I didn't mention before. But if you have things called sinking funds, which is if you have a car, for example, and you know it's going to need maintenance over that period of time that you have it, put in a little bit of money, like £20 every month, into a sinking fund. And then when the time comes where you need to go to the mechanic, you already have that money sitting there waiting for you to be used. So things like this can make your life a lot easier because you're not trying to come up with, a bank of money very suddenly for things. And this is why I think emergency funds are very important too, which I mentioned in the first point, is to have a current account, a savings account, and an emergency pot of money. An emergency can be anything from your car breaking down to you losing your job. So only, of course, use your emergency fund when it's a genuine emergency. Otherwise, you're making your life very complicated. So look after your future self first before, spending stuff on nights out, cocktails, or expensive clothes, that you're probably not even going to wear that often, okay? It's really important to set yourself up for the future, and you can do it in a very simple way. So thanks for watching, guys. I tend to post 2 videos a week here on personal finance. So if you're trying to be better with your money in the new year, hopefully this channel can help you guys. Please press subscribe if you're into learning more about money bits. About 90% of you that watch don't subscribe, so I would really appreciate it if you can just press that button. It should make my day. Cool. But until then, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.